Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with another episode of our Tip In series. I'm making some general Christmas ephemera that will go in some of the journals that I'm making, but the main tip in is to go in the Christmas challenge journal, the junk journal Christmas challenge that we're doing in my group. I'll show you that here in just a second. So we're going to be using a CD envelope to make a tip in or a tip out or flip or whatever you want to call it. So let me show you some samples here so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is just a 5x5 CD envelope. I got them from Goodwill, but you can buy them on Amazon if you can't find them secondhand. But this is our little flip. So I made an error and tried to trim an edge, ended up cutting the actual natural flap off. So I had to attach a new one on this one, which is not a problem at all. So we've got a window here, and then we've got two sweet cards that go in here. So let me take that other one out. Thought I grabbed that. Come on. Come on. It's Friday evening, I'm a little bit tired. So we've got two beautiful cards that go in that one. And then we've got, we backed the inside of this with some tea stain paper, put a little bit of embellishment on here. We are going to emboss this piece of paper, the front and the back, with an embossing folder, which I'll show you in a moment. And then we'll cut the hole as well. I won't bring the die cut machine over because it's an electric one, but I'll tell you how I come to line this up correctly. I can see that this one is farther over here because my die is actually slightly smaller than the window, which gives you a little bit more wiggle room with that measurement. And then those cards just go back in that window. This is another one I made. This is using the Floral Frost kit from Pink Monarch Prints. It's just got a card here. I backed the inside of that one as well. And it's got a pretty plain back. Oh no, this one had the pocket. So it's got 3 journal cards in the pocket. I think we're going to put a pocket in the one we're making today together. And then we've got one with the, I believe this was the Blush and Bloom kit. We've just got a cute card. I didn't back the inside of this one because it was the first one I did, and I actually embossed this, and I didn't really care for messing up that acetate with embossing, so I won't be doing that today. Added a little quote and a butterfly. So I've got my supplies, my Fabri-Tac, my white glue, vintage photo archival ink, which this always has to get moved over here. And then I've got my whale tail tab punch, and then we'll be using this brush to highlight all of that embossing that we do with the embossing folder. This is the die that I'm using. As I just mentioned, it is smaller than the window of my CD envelope. These measure 5 inches by 5 inches without the flap. So let's fold that over so you can see the size of that. And so you can see my die is smaller than my window, which again allows you a little bit more wiggle room and room for error in lining up the stuff. So guys, I just noticed that that fan is going, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and I'll be back in just a quick minute. Okay, that will begin to slow down there. So again, that doing a smaller die allows you more room for imperfection, I guess. So we'll set that aside because we're going to be needing that. I've got some bits to decorate as well as some cards to go in the pocket. And then this will be our, I believe this is what I decided was going to be my pocket. This is my lining paper to go on the inside, which I'll show you how to do that. This is just an extra piece of paper for some punches. And then this is the embossing folder we're going to be using, which is the same one I used on the Floral Frost sample that I just showed you, because it kind of reminds me of snow, and I thought it was perfect for a Christmas project. So this is going to be, I haven't decided, like I was thinking this was going to be the front, but I want to look at the images for what's going to show through in this, and I'm thinking that this would be perfect. I'm almost thinking I want that little bird to be peeking out. So I think I will use this one for the front because I think that will go really, really well. But we'll deal with that in a moment. We'll come back and cut those. I cut 2 different things because I wasn't sure what I wanted, but I think I've settled on it now. So I'm going to set this extra one over there, and we're going to get going. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to run both of these pieces through the embossing machine, again using this embossing folder. So I'll run it through twice. And, oh no, it's not wide enough for this paper. Oh no, I cut this bigger because again, it can be hard to line up. So you can see I'm not exactly 5 by 5 because then again, I have a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit of forgiveness there. So I'm not worried about this being too narrow of a embossing folder. So I'm going to turn and do this really quick on both pieces and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've embossed both of those as I mentioned with that embossing folder. It's just an old Doris one. So those are both inked, so embossed. So let me show you what the inking looks like. It's pretty darn cool. So we're going to just take this. I like to use the makeup brush because I get it doesn't make contact as harsh as like a dauber or something like I use. So I'm just going to do this and show you what that looks like. We're going to be cutting the circle out of this one that I'm working on here. But I just thought I would show you what it looks like to have those dots in kind of popped out with the ink. I think it's a really cool effect. So thought I would show you that really quick. So that's what that looks like. Isn't that cool? I mean, brown snow, sometimes. So let's go ahead and do the same here. Oh, I love this one. Oh, this is really pretty. I don't remember, did I talk about this paper? I already lost my brain. This is chapter 1 papers. I can't remember the name of I think it's just called Christmas papers, actually, now that I think about it, but I will link it down below. There we go. I love it. Okay, so let's get that stuff out of the way. So now we're not going to need to cut a hole in this one because it's for the back, but I am going to cut a hole in this one. So because I left some room, I know that the distance, so you want to decide which side you want your flap on and which side you want open. So I think we'll open this edge and we'll have our flap be on, oh, it can't be on a right-sided page and have it there. So what you could do is make your opening at the top and then it would be able to be on the left page. If that makes any sense. We'll cut that open after we do our gluing on and all that can be a last step. So I've got some washi tape here that I like to use to secure my dies. So I'll just set that there. What I was going to say is I know that each of these sections is a 1/2 of an inch. So as long as I'm a 1/2 of an inch or more from that point, we're good. So why does that seem so big? Because I cut the whole thing big for room for error. So we're just going to go for it here. Just as long as you get it past that 1/2 an inch mark, you're going to be just fine. Okay. So I do like to tap this washi tape off on my pants because it is still pretty sticky. And just put a piece there. I'm just going to put another one just for good measure. And I like to keep the tape focused on the inside of this because if it sticks, then it's not going to ruin my frame. So I'm just going to show you the double checking of this. So that is more than a 1/2 of an inch. So we're good. We've got plenty of room. So make your square bigger if you can afford to do that, and then you'll be good. So I'm going to run this through the machine and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. So we'll just release that. Oh, we got some stickage. That's okay, so I'll take care of that later. So that is our center. So we do want to ink around the middle of this hole just to get it inked because we won't be able to get to it again, and we'll ink the outside edges after we're done gluing the paper on. So it's a pretty easy project. I think the hardest thing at least for a beginner is to figuring out how you would cut your hole. So the other thing you could do, I don't know, like you could put maybe a piece of paper on the inside, or you could collage around it. Sometimes people will do that, but it's a little bit tricky. So a die is your best bet. So we decided we wanted it to be that way. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up to my circle of the window like that. Okay. And I'm going to see if I can go down. Yeah, I've got plenty of room there. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this back. And I'm going to be using my Fabri-Tac so I have time to move it. And I don't have to be super focused on the inner edges, mostly just the outer edges, okay, to make sure that it doesn't separate on that top layer is the most important thing in my opinion. So we're just going to do that. Don't get a glue on your window. You could also make these yourself. I showed you how to do in another one of the tip-in videos how to make your own windowed pocket. So you could go back and watch that video if you were so inclined. So we're going to turn it to make sure that that's flap is on that side because that's where we want it to attach. And we're going to go ahead and put this on. And I've got more space here, so I want to make sure that I don't put, I want to get it sort of even-ish if I can get this to go up a little bit further. I'm going to turn this over, and that's going to help me get it straight, okay, like that. And that looks pretty good, okay? So I'm just going to give that a chance. Oh, we didn't cut the side open so that we could do the innard. Oh, we're going to have to do that. So we'll have to do that next. So we can put our paper on the inside. I did that out of order. So I would suggest you put your liner paper in before you glue that paper on. Not a big deal. Okay, so it's this way. So let's trim off these edges so that we can get to the, slicing off that edge and then lining this, the CD envelope. So these are not the sticky scissors. Let me grab the sticky scissors because I can see we have some glue oozing. So be really careful here that you don't cut that flap open, okay? This is not where I made the mistake. I made the mistake when I had the layers from each side and I saw something I didn't like and I tried to trim it and I ended up cutting the flap off. So don't do that. Don't do what I do in that regard. So I am trying to get some videos done for Thanksgiving week, so that I'm not filming during Thanksgiving week because I've got my camera and my husband's going to work up the rig to put it up, and then I'm going to be kind of doing mirroring. I'm going to work on this webcam and then I'm going to practice on the other one to get to know it before I kind of go live with the new camera and the new setup. It's quite a learning curve for my 60-year-old brain, but I'm going to do it. It's going to keep me young. So there we go. Okay. So sorry for that dinging. So we're going to cut, what did we decide? We're going to put our pocket we're going to put our opening at the top. So I'm going to just cut this by hand because it's pretty easy to do. You're just going to take off enough of that just to open that edge up. Okay. Just snip that all off and try to get it straight if you can. That was not straight at the end, but no worries. Okay, and the reason for that is now you have an opportunity to get your liner paper in here. Otherwise, I was nearly impossible. So I'm just going to check my measurements. This looks to be a little bit, is this a little bit too big? Because I don't want it to be tight. I do not need it to be tight. Yeah, I'm going to cut just a smidge off each edge, probably about 1/8 of an inch. Of course, you could pre-measure, but I find that with this kind of project, you're always having to kind of continue to revise things because it's a little complex. So I'm going to stick this in here and see if we're close to being the right size here. Just slide that in there, and then my husband, I was so frustrated when he got home because I was trying to do this and then it was not working and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And he's like, well, just put your paper in there and then put some glue on the back, which I'm like, brilliant, because nothing's going to go behind there. So that's what I would suggest. Get your glue in here, and you want glue on this side. You don't want glue to touch your window. So I'm going to do that with my Fabri-Tac here. I'm going to stick this in here all the way Down in the corner, all around. You gotta move kind of fast though, because you don't want it to stick, and if you needed to adjust or move something, you want to be able to do that. I do want it to be pretty solid on this top edge, because that is our opening, okay? And then just close it up like so. And make sure that we don't have any stickage. Looks great. That's the way to do it. What do we got going on there? Oh, that's a piece of that flap, which will be fine once we cover the back. So I just wanted you to see what this looks like all inked up. I just love these Christmas images with the ink and the browns and the reds. Really, really fun. So there we go. So now we're going to put our piece on the back. Okay, just make sure that you're directionally you're going the right way. So we can turn this over. And then this is just going to go on here. We can just trim off 2 edges. So I'll line it up on this edge, and then we just have to trim some off this side and the bottom. So that will make more, make it make more sense. So let's just glue this up. Make sure you're still going the right way. And let's go ahead and place that on here. I'm going to turn this so I can see this long edge here and my edge that's at the top fairly easily. Move that up. Okay. Got a little bit of glue on that other side for some reason. Okay. Now, of course, you could measure, because at this point you're dealing with not exactly 5 by 5, because we did take a sliver off of the CD envelope to open it up, but it was just a sliver. It was literally this much. Okay, not much at all. Okay, there we go. I want to make sure that's not binding as well. Oh, I didn't get paper to cover those. I'll have to dig out the scrap bin. So let's go ahead and cut this off. Again, being very careful not to cut anything open that you don't want to have open. So pretty. Now let's ink this up. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I love it. Lovely. I feel like I've got glue on my fingers or something. It's going to fold this flap back, and oh, I've got a little bit of binding there. Okay. Nope, it's okay. Feels like it's binding there. I just want to open that up so that I can get that white inked up, because it will show if you don't. And then is that, okay, so that's my opening. So now we can glue that opening shut, okay? Well, not shut. So this is the tricky part. So this is going to wrap on a page. So let me grab a piece of paper so I can show you what I mean. Let's just pretend that this is the journal page. So this would wrap like this. So technically you don't need to glue this edge at all, because it's not going to go anywhere. If this is going to be up against your page. If that made you uncomfortable, you could glue it. I'm not going to glue it because it costs you the landscape of your pocket when you have to glue it shut again. So we're going to go ahead and leave it open. Now I don't like that we've got white showing here. That was not what I wanted. So let me go ahead and just ink that and see if I can. My paper didn't go up high enough. So, but you know, it's just a handmade journal. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that's enough disguise for me. Okay. My husband just turned the TV on. I did ask him to try to keep it low, so while I'm filming, it's not, you guys aren't hearing that. So that is that. So we do need to cover these flaps though. So let me grab some more paper here. Got some of the scraps in here from the chapter 1 papers. So I'm feeling like this would actually be just fine. This it's going to go sideways though, is it? Is it going to go sideways? Let's see. Whoops, don't fall everything. Nope, we should be able to go the same direction. Okay, let's just use this just to keep it easy. So I like to do what I call the cheat method, which I just line this up like here, okay? And then I glue it on, and then I just, sorry, I'm not making much sense. Goodness gracious. I line it up to one edge, and then I just cut around it when I'm done. But I'm going to cut off a little bit of this, just the cream colored paper, just so I get a little bit of more design there. And so I'm going to ink this edge so that I can't, because I won't be able to get to it again. Okay. And then we're just going to glue that on. Make sure it's going the same direction as your other paper. I don't advise crossing over that fold personally, because you get an added bulk it's not always what you want. So just line that up like that. Just pick it up and give that a good press. This is also going to thicken up your flat because they're pretty thin. CD envelope paper is not very thick. Just moving that. So I advise you to use Fabri-Tac if you have it, because you get that chance to move things and adjust. Okay. And I'm just going to cut around that. And then I'll do the other side. I'm just going to speed that part up for you. You do have to kind of be careful doing this while your glue is wet, so you know, enter at your own risk. I feel pretty confident in my process, but if you feel nervous, I would let everything set, because these can slide a little bit because it's Fabri-Tac. It takes a little bit longer to set, which is a blessing, but also can be frustrating. So just inking those two edges up, or two sides up rather. And I like to get ink on that edge as well, because sometimes you see that white core. Isn't that amazing? So beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's take a look at, well, we can do our decorating, and then we'll do our cards that are going to go on the inside. So, oh, we had a pocket. That's right. I forgot about the pocket. We're going to put a pocket on the back. So I do believe that I want this pocket to be a little bit shorter, because look at how that's going to take away from our background here. So I think I'm going to go and make it about there, but I do want a gusset, so I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch-ish to the bottom here. So I'm going to cut it there, and then we'll be doing a 1/4 inch score on each edge, and then the bottom after I cut that off. Just bring this back into view here. Sorry, that's supposed to be covering up my light. Goodness gracious. I'm hoping that the new camera will also solve some of my lighting issues, because it's built into the camera. So I'm hopeful. Nervous. I'm nervous to try something new, because it changes everything. It changes how I have to learn how to get it into my editing software, and how to cast it to my screen so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm like, but I keep telling myself, I can do it. I can do it. I've done hard things. I tell my students that all the time. You can do hard things. You can make good choices. You know, I can do hard things too. So I'm trying to practice what I say. So I'm just going to miter those corners so they're not too bulky. You just kind of cut at an angle if you're new to this, like so. And then I do like to cut these ones as well, because sometimes they show and they can look kind of silly. This will look better once it's inked up, and it'll look like it goes with this a little bit better than it does right now, because right now it's just this really strong red against those kind of sepia tones. So this will help. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Here we go. Let's get that bone folder. Quit fussing with it, Cara-Renee. Just do it the right way. Do it the easy way. Okay, get that folded up. This the gusset just allows you a little bit more space in the pocket. So that is lovely. So we need to do a thumb notch in this. So let me grab my circle punch that I like to use for that. And I am going to try to find the center. I've been trying to do better at that. So that is exactly 5 inches. That's perfect. Hopefully it's perfect. Yep, it's good. Which means we took our little bit off of the top. That's why we're not noticing a difference on the side for our measurements. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark halfway, which is 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's here. I just like to make a pencil mark, and then I can make sure I get that a little bit more centered than I normally would. Sometimes I cheat or I'm lazy. So just go ahead and punch that. I'm going to ink this up. You'll see what I mean. It's gorgeoso. I do like to use my white glue to glue the pocket on because it's a good, hard, fast stick adhesion. So I'm just going to use the white glue and put glue on each of those flaps. The new camera is so heavy that my arm that we thought was going to work is not going to work. So when you put the camera in there, it just tips over because it's not a strong enough arm. So I'm like, oh man, get something here quickly. So thankful for Amazon because I can make these things happen very quickly. I also needed a lot of accessories I didn't think about before, like my current microphone is a USB microphone and that won't work with my camera, so I had to get a new microphone, and I had to get SD cards and an extra battery. So it's quite an investment in this venture that we are sharing together. I haven't decided, but I'm hoping to open my business again, maybe in 2026. We'll see. So I think that's lovely. It's very stark, but I think it's a good complement to the whole piece. So I'm not going to ink all these things up because you don't need to see that, but we've got some cards from the kit. So those will just go in here like so, and they can stick up out of there if you want them to. It looks like I just picked 2, which is fine. They could go this way as well. A little bit too wide for that one, but I'll work on that off camera. I'm not going to waste your time. If you didn't want them to stick up, just make sure that they're not taller than your pocket. You can go all the way to the bottom though, because it's gusseted. So you've got all that space, which I think is the neat part of doing that gusset. So let's go ahead and decorate the front of this, and then we'll do our cards. Now I really like this, but I feel like it's way too big, so I picked a second one, and I really like that. I think that's a good accent. So we're just going to ink up those edges here. We're going to keep this decorating pretty simple for today's video. And then I've got a Merry Christmas as well that I thought we could add maybe up at the top, so that would be kind of different. And it's going to hang over the window, which is actually quite a cool effect. I'm going to grab my corner rounder and round this at the 4 millimeter. Let's do 7. I think it can handle 7. Yeah. There we go. I hope you guys can't hear the TV. It's not very loud. For some reason, he's not hard of hearing or anything, but he likes to watch his stuff really loud. You know, the man works really hard, and that's how he decompresses. He does a lot. It doesn't go just plop on the couch, but when he's done with his day and done with everything, he does like to go and watch TV. So why did I have white here? Why did I have white seam binding or gauze? I'm going to get a different color. Just a moment. That will not do. That's too pristine. So we'll get some of this soft, I think this is a medical gauze of some kind. I can't remember. I coffee dyed it. So we're going to use that under our circle. I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. Okay. There we go. What do we have on our window? What do we have on our window? I don't want to scratch it. There's something on there. There we go. Okay, so let's make this even-ish. And we're going to kind of plop that right there in the corner. And we're going to put our circle there. So I'm going to glue this down with the Fabri-Tac, just enough to adhere the most of it there. I'm going to go ahead and put that back on there. And kind of distort it wherever you want it to be distorted. I like it to kind of hang over that window a little bit because our circle is actually going to go up. So let's go ahead and pull that a little bit. Okay, and then directionally, what directions does that need to be? I don't think it matters. It's holly, right? So I start my Thanksgiving break next week. So I just work Monday, Tuesday, which will give me time to dive into the whole camera adventure. Hopefully, among other things that I want to accomplish. So I just have 3 days off school, but that makes a 5-day weekend, 5 days off in total with the weekend. So I'm grateful. Christina, your journal is coming along. All the signatures are all chosen, and all the things that we made on camera as far as full page things, they're all a part of the signature, and the cover is all put together. I have to do all the sewing and all the inking, and once I do that, everything goes super fast. So hopefully I'll be able to get that out to you next week, and I'll email you when I'm done. This is a little bit stiff here, probably the pocket, so let me see if I can burnish that down a little bit better. It's not a huge issue, but we'll just do that. And what do we have here? I see white. Make the white go away. There we go, easily fixed. Okay, so we've got this Merry Christmas word, and I thought this would just be fun to put in the opposite corner. I like that. So we're going to just put some Fabri-Tac on there as well, and then we'll cut our cards, and then we'll be done. So not too bad today. I've got a cool, another cool waterfall video for the series, so I hope that you guys will check that out. And then I plan on working on my Christmas prompts, hopefully next week as well. You know, where does the time go? It's like we feel like we have all this time, and before you know it, you blink and all of your time is gone. So I was thinking about the bird. I thought the bird would be really cute in here. So let's start by cutting that down. It's going to have to be slightly smaller than the size of the CD envelope. Well, not really though, because we have no glue. We have no glue in there that's making that pocket smaller. So we might be okay. So this is going to be just right, I think. So I'm going to cut it at the edge of this design, like so. And then we will kind of get an idea of where our bird is going to sit in here. So probably about there. So I think I'll just use my pencil and mark that really quick, just to get a general idea of how far, because he's going to be perfect in the window. I mean, he's going to be a little bit over to that side, I believe, or this side, I can't recall, but we're going to go ahead and give that a try. Okay, there's no right or wrong way to do this, guys. Okay, just going to do that. I have to go on the inside of those lines because yeah, it's going to be too wide. Just slightly. You guys can fuss with this. I know that I'm not doing anything very exact at the moment, but that's okay. You guys can figure it out. The more you do this, the more you become confident in those decisions. So I'm just going to go again, just below that line, just to make sure that I'm okay. And then let's bring this back over. And we're going to just slide her in. Now we can't rely on that because that's not going to be available. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, it needs to be much smaller though. much smaller. So that can go there. So we need to take a little bit off of this edge because we don't want to lose too much of our bird. So we're going to take a bit off there. Just doing that by hand. I know it's risky. Try that out again. Boom. And this can stick out the top a little bit, so I'm okay with that. So I feel like it's cutting off that Christmas bit. So I think I'm going to take just a smidge more off the edge. Even though it's all those beautiful berries, it'll be okay. I'm trying to not lose the Mary. There we go. The Christmas is going to be hidden a little bit behind the embellishment, but that's okay. I like it. I like it. So we do have to take a little bit off of this edge because you can see it's coming right to this edge, and that is going to be part of the page when it gets glued on. So we'll just cut a smidge off of here as well. Just probably about, again, about 1/8 of an inch, I would say. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and take the other one. I want 2 cards in here. So I think I'm gonna do this the rough and ready way, and I'm just gonna cut around this and make it the same size. Of course, again, you can always measure. Some people are really, that measuring is really important to you and it's satisfying to you. So do what you like to do to make your work be what you like. I don't worry about things too much in terms of perfection or anything like that. So I can't quite see that line. There we go. Okay. Boom. That mouse is going to turn off my video. Let me move it right by my elbow. Okay, so I like my corners rounded, so I'm going to use the 10mm corner rounder and round all of those edges. And I'm going to ink these up and then I'll be back. So what do you guys do for Thanksgiving? Do you get together with family? Do you host in your own home? I think I shared this last year. I do not host. My daughter and her husband host Thanksgiving these days. So it's really nice. Now this could also go in. So let's try the other bird and see which one we like the best. Oh, that one's really cool too. I don't think he's as pretty. So no offense. No offense, Birdie. Making sure that that's going to clear that just fine. So I want some whale tail tabs on here, or a whale tail tab. So this, I think we'll have a whale tail tab on this one and not on this one. So I'm just going to use this red paper and just punch one really quick. I have the punch, thanks to my dear friend Shelly. I have the dies as well, but they're a little bit less convenient. So usually when I start a project, I cut a bunch with my dies, but I have not really had a chance to do that as of late. So I just cut as I go. And the nice thing with the dies is they come in multiple sizes. I'm going to check before I post this video and see if they're available again on Etsy is where I got them. So I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac again. I like to be able to move things around. It does mean you have to kind of pause and not put it in the pocket because that tab can move. I'm just going to turn it over and see. Oh, it looks pretty good. Move it over a little bit. Okay, you could obviously mark that as I mentioned before. So with this open though, I think I can just slide them in there and not fuss with it too much. So I'm just going to slide that in. Now, of course, when this is glued to a page, it's going to slide in like a pocket. But I want to show you how much room it has. So we've got, oh, not much. But that's just going to get glued down. So it's not going to affect, it shouldn't affect that at all. If you were concerned, again, you could glue that shut. I don't think it's necessary. This also gives you an opportunity to ink this edge up a little bit because it's all open. Let's do that. Let's do that. Just a bit. Yeah, so these are going to go in here. Again, I'll cut them down. Maybe we'll put this one this way. And we'll put the other one the tall way, and I'll just have to trim it a little bit. I don't think I don't like them like that, but I'll figure it out. It's a little bit too tall. And I might put a little piece of or an eyelet and some seam binding there, but I love that bird there. So that is our project for today, guys. I hope that you were inspired. My husband was sharing with me, I showed him the nativity one, and he was like super impressed. He's like, man, you could use these CD envelopes and do this again, but make it so it's like a gift card holder, so that like your this one that slides out, you could actually put like a sleeve on the back of it so that you could put a gift card on it, and you could put an excuse me, an eyelet on it so that pardon me, so that it could hang on a Christmas tree. I thought maybe, I don't think this year, but maybe next year. So that is our project, guys. Thank you. Pardon me. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.